renarspodcast.
Comedy.
So Ondrey Moscow, that's his stage name, is a comedian.
Yeah.
And that's how we met. We met doing comedy, again, about almost 4 years ago now. It feels like it. This is my fourth time. Every time I come, it's just like for half a year, whatever. I think it's fourth year. Since
Two and a half.
Two and a half.
2.5. Yeah.
Really?
3 years ago, I moved to Bali, and we met not straight away, but a bit later. In a bit. Yeah. I remember the first day when I saw you.
When you laid your eyes on me.
Yeah.
Who's that weirdo?
I wish it was my hands, but
Oh no.
So it's you were the guy from the audience.
Oh right.
Who participated in little activity and I think won some little prize or something.
Yeah, and I did. The reason I won it because I spoke in Russian, and there was like 95% of audience was Russians.
Yeah. During COVID, a lot of Russians in Bali, and you did some joke in like half English, half Russian, and everyone loved it, and you won the prize.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, these guys should be a comedian too.
Oh, just for like being 2 minutes on the stage. But no, I mean, like I fell in love pretty much straight away, or at least like I definitely knew I want to try and see what's going on. And community was amazing. Saying the past tense, I mean, still good. But yeah, it was great. So comedy, why did you start getting into it? So before that was improv more, or it was comedy straight away?
It was hosting.
Oh,
actually,
like
originally, I was emceeing like extreme sport events since 2012.
Fuck, I didn't know that about you. I mean, like, I know that you're doing extreme sports, the rollerblades and all the tricks and stuff. But this is the thing, I used to MC events as well. That's how I started my career with getting on the stage.
Yeah, right. With this backstage, you don't really, you stop caring too much.
Yeah.
For people who never done anything on the stage and then they have to perform alone with a monologue, that's a bit scary. But if you've done something in front of more than a few people, not just like toasting on like wedding or something bigger, like 100 people, then after that, you don't really care.
No. Like in my case, it was like also because you're so used to improvising. So if shit goes down, you always can kind of figure out what to say, just like, oh, whatever. Like you can do crowd work and jump into that.
Right.
So, and you are really good in crowd work. And that experience comes from doing emceeing events, and that's where you get your confidence. Yeah.
So I hosted for few years. It was mostly extreme events, then a few weddings. Fuck, my leg is cramping. Shit. Fuck.
We will back. We get back after
commercial.
This commercial.
What helped is I hosted extreme events, then I hosted weddings of my friends. In both of cases, you don't have too much responsibility. It's not like you're hosting like an opening of your university or some big business event or something. It's not like you have to keep your face straight and stuff like that. Both extreme sports and weddings, they were really forgiving because it's all my friends and I can talk to them very like freely and flowy and I know something about people there. So I don't need to like memorize like 100 names like some people do before weddings or in some official events. I already know people. I'm like, hey, you as usually so ugly. Like, and then I would roast myself as well. And then if I said something wrong, I can joke about myself into the microphone. And then I think that's the moment when I realized like, I think I can be like those guys I watch on the internet. And then I started going to open mics and they mostly suck. It's usually just like maybe 20% of comedians who are actually funny. And the rest is just those who like fight their lack of confidence. There are stuttering people who do this as a therapy. There are people who are trying to fight depression, who lost the bet. So now they have to go up the stage. A lot of like random people who don't really pursue comedy or who don't have talent or who don't understand what is a joke. So they just go up and do something. And then maybe 20% are actual comedians. And then I'm like, okay, I can do much better. I can do much better. I can do much better. And a few years later, I started. Actually started because of a bet as well.
Oh shit.
So me and my friend from Canada, whose name is Richard, or Dick.
It's always a good option. The first time when I heard when like American English people called themselves Dick, I was like, why? Why would you do that?
So yeah, we went for a couple open mics in China already. That was already in China, 2019. And he said, "Oh, they all suck. I can do so much better." Because so it was a beer inside of him talking. And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, you should. You definitely should. Like, just do the same as you did tonight, like a couple beers, and then."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, for sure. I'll sign up if you sign up." So we both talked to the host like, "Yo, next week we're performing," and he's like, "All right." And then every day I was telling him like, "Yo, Rich, are you writing something?" He's like, "No, I'm good. Like, I'll do it last night." But I was writing.
You were writing.
Yeah, so I was writing my jokes.
Right.
I was actually writing my jokes before when I was going to those open mics in Russia and in China. But I always thought like, nah, this is not good enough. Or like one day I'm thinking this is actually like stand-up material. And then a few days later, after I read it like 20, 30, 50 times, I'm like, no, this is not funny at all. Yeah, but then on one comedy event, again, in Russia, that's called Punchline...
Plus?
No, not this one. Another Russian event. Like Punchline Festival. Like Festival of Comedy in Russia. When it was still okay to live there.
How do you say that in Russian?
No, they called it Punchline.
They actually
just
do
using Kirillitsa. Just using Russian letters.
Punchline.
But it's still like Punchline Fest. Yeah. So I asked one of guys whose comedy I like what to do. I'm writing and I don't perform. And he told me, just commit and perform with it once. If you read it for 20 or 50 times and you don't like it, it's you. What if other people will like it because they hear it for the first time? If they don't, at least you know how bad is that? Like, is it completely, fully shit? Or
so do you remember your first couple times when you performed?
Yeah, I remember the first time. The very first time I remember well. And there was already crowd work. I was telling a joke about people holding phones in their hands all the time. And there was a girl who's like, yeah, Chinese. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's actually everyone. Even you're holding your phone. You're on a comedy event, you're holding your phone in your hand. She's like, yeah, because you're boring. And I was actually not too bad, like objectively. Even now, I think that I was not bad.
But what did you have a comeback for that?
Yeah. She said, yeah, I'm holding my phone because you're boring. And everyone in the bar was like, whoa. And I'm like, well, your mom didn't say that. And the whole bar was like, whoa. So it's primitive. I agree. Like, if I do that now, your mom joke, it would be primitive. Right. But for my first ever comedy, it's all right.
I can write this down.
Can use it. I think everyone can use a mom joke. But the thing is...
I usually say your uncle.
No.
Your uncle said it's pretty nice.
Your uncle, who is also your dad.
Oh.
Hey. Yeah. This is a bit more elegant and less direct and a bit more interesting. But your mom joke is always your mom joke. But the thing is, I tried to do the same, like your mom joke as a comeback to some of the audience heckling me on like my third or fourth time. And it didn't work like at all. Didn't work completely. Everyone was like...
Yeah. But listen, like this, one of the biggest ones I think about stand-up, what I noticed is that, and like since I've been back performing here, I was like, one day you do exactly the same material, but one day you have that certain type of a confidence, you take the pauses, you take this, like this, you have this cockiness in something and it just goes so well. And the other day you have the same material and then you just like, you can feel like the crowd wasn't feeling it, you were not feeling it. What do you call it? Like, do you need to like saying like you need to figure out how to get in that zone?
I would say that, of course, the more practice you have and more years of practice you have. Yeah. So we don't judge each other by like this month you're great, next month you're not. I would say it's years.
Oh, okay.
So, like a lot of great comedians became great after like 10 years or something. So you suck for a while and then you figured it out. So I would say Of course, it's experience, but also there are some factors which would just not allow you to do well.
Right.
Like if people sit too far from each other.
Right.
If you take like how do you call it? Like a legal COVID setting, 3 meters from each other, like table should be 3 meters from each other. Just not funny. It's not like laughter is contagious more than COVID. So you need people to sit much closer to each other. That's why every time Friday, I'm myself moving chairs closer to the stage and adding more chairs into first couple rows. What's happening in the back doesn't really matter. People who sit in the back, they can chat, or they more like into taking pictures on the event than actually listening and laughing.
No, setup is very important.
Setup is very important, and also
the mood, the whole thing.
Technical things like microphone. If your microphone,
it's very important if that microphone works.
Yeah. So when
I have some. No, that's not that one.
Crickets. Yeah.
Hey, I found it after fifth time. Sorry.
So people should see you and they should hear you.
Yeah.
So if light in the audience is same as light on the stage, it's a bummer. Mm-hmm. If sound from the microphone is bothered by something else, like if there is no, how do you call this thing? Spitter?
Fum? I don't know. Spitter, fum.
If there is some technical issues that distract people from hearing the words, then it's already harder. Like your joke should be like a killer joke.
Yeah.
Then maybe it will work. So people should at least 100% see you and hear you. Then there is a chance everything is going to work well. But also, there are ways to save events that were supposed to be a failure.
Yeah, I want to say straight away about example. When I was in UK, I performed a couple of places, and one of the places, microphone just died. And I think like there was someone passing by, and like just there was a wire, and they pulled out the wire, and like there's no mic, and they was like trying to figure out what to do. The guy was just don't give a fuck, just without mic, and just smashed it. And it was a very weird setup. It was like a pub, and he was like this orator, like walking and just directing and giving orders and just doing his stuff. I'm like, I don't think I ever can do that kind of shit. Like he was proper, like really loud as well, and people loved it. And like, you know, it's all about the performer, you know. It's like what you said earlier about also like if there's a spacing too big and this, that, and it's like, yeah, I agree. So that makes it more harder. But like our good mate String, I remember we performed this one place. I don't know if it was you there as well, but there was Artyom, our common friend. And so it was like 3 or 4 of us, we all bombed. It was just like horrible. It was like Indonesians mainly, like no one really spoke English. And I was like doing my gay jokes and shit. So it was like not going anywhere. And then String comes up and he just starts picking on this one girl, not picking, like just talking about her dress, about her outfit. Like, what did she just this with this dress? I don't know. Were you there?
Yeah, sounds familiar. I think he did it a few times.
Yeah.
When audience is not ready to, or not interested either to hear about something they're not in touch with.
Yeah.
That means that maybe you should talk directly about them. Yeah, hey, you.
Yeah.
And then it can fix
art.
everything.
That's the art. So
you're always looking for connection, basically. It's just like when you paint or when you dance, you need people to like, you need them constantly to receive something that triggers their mind in good way, bad way, funny way, happy way, nostalgic, whatever. So if you can see that a few performers before you, they did all like sex jokes, drug jokes, and political jokes. None of them work. Okay, come up with something cute or something else, right. Come up with the crowd work. So usually it's a little, I don't know if it's a trick or not, but if guy before you kills and he did something, let's say very like kind of aggressive and impulsive and like active delivery, and he kills it, and you're like, oh, I cannot compete with him in like being this and that, so you should compete with him in contrast. Right. You come up and like, why was he like trying so hard and like being a bit sarcastic about him and stuff like that. Or if the guy before you, he was very nerdy, and doesn't matter if it worked well or didn't, you should change the pace for sure. If comedians changed but audio is the same, I don't think it's gonna work well. Yeah. So maybe String literally did that. He's like, okay, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. I'll do this. At least there is a chance. Because if I do something that doesn't work in this place, probably not working for me too. So I have to try something else. Yeah.
Shout out to String, by the way.
Yo, String.
That's a shout out for you, buddy. I'm gonna do this little story and put you in, and yeah, String was just such a great and just positive energy always, and inspiring everyone. It was like, come on, man, you could just do it. Head down, ass up.
Head down, ass up.
Yeah, that was
security.
That was
quit playing.
Quit playing security. That's what's up, String.
Bust a nut.
That was later.
Very catchy phrases. Yeah. I don't have them.
Yeah, I don't mean either. But it's a funny concept to talk about. What makes them catchy? Is it just because you repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat? Or there is some kind of trick to it? Like, because, for example, for Arnie, any movie he does, he always going to have some stupidly crazy, catchy phrases, like what people want to repeat. Is it because the way he does it, like, you need to cool down, or it's not a tumor, or it's like, get to the chopper, it's all these, and is it because the way he says that, or what do you think?
I think catchy is catchy. It could be programming, you just said it like intensive enough, like each 30 seconds you say this phrase, like in some comedy shows, they use the same music between comedians, or they use the same
yeah.
So like this thing is catchy and everyone knows because of memes, because how often it's used, and because it's used in the same situation.
It's kind of coding you up so that you have to laugh that you hear the sound. Just like when they started putting the laughs on a background for like TV series and stuff, right? How crazy is that? Like you watch something and because they laugh, you're like, oh yeah, I should laugh as well. That makes like naturally like kind of you're part of the group. Because like in comedy shows, the same thing. If you would be watching comedies, no one is laughing. It's not like you're gonna be laughing, even if it's fucking funny, right? So you maybe will, but very rarely. But if everyone is laughing, losing their shit next to you, you're just gonna automatically laugh. Because we as a humans, the same if you yawn, I wanna yawn.
Yeah.
It's like we copy each other kind of thing.
And it's not only about being contagious, like, oh, everyone laughing, then I should too. It's not only this, it's also about allowing yourself to laugh.
Right.
So about this sitting like 3 meters away from each other, or like if there are gaps in first row and then gaps in second row. So you're already having too much space between people. You need to pack them in.
Right.
And then it's not only about they laugh, I will do too. It's also about, can I? Is it okay if I laugh? So, because I think intuitively or instinctively, I don't know English.
I don't know English.
I don't know what's the correct word. So I think first, it's not only is it good to do something? Like, it's not only positive motivation, it's also negative motivation. Like, is it okay? Is it safe to do something? Like some people would not even respond to your attempt of crowd work. Like, hey, what's your name?
Yeah.
No, they freeze and then you're not going anywhere. So you should go to the next one. So the same, if it's allowed to laugh. Like if you start your set with dark jokes and there was no warm up before that and there was no dark jokes in the whole show,
it's risky, but it still can work.
It's a gamble.
I'm yawning like fuck. It's been
I know.
a long day.
I'm boring guest.
No. This is like because I was just
have some. It's dark chocolate.
Yeah,
like unpacking.
We do that.
Music for unpacking.
When we're gonna have a little break, then I'm gonna pack and have some, and then on top of it with a chicken foot, leg.
I don't recommend to mix them.
I love it. Like in Russian fairy tales, there's this house on a chicken leg. It's called no, don't say it. Избушка на курьей ножке. Hey.
Yeah, almost right.
Fuck you. What?
Yeah, there is some little.
Избушка на курьей ножке.
На курьих ножках.
So it's with a 2. Yeah. So I said in single. I just one because I have only one. I can have only. You should bring 2 then.
Well, all right. Here you go.
Is that where you get it from?
It's illegal to bring meat into Indonesia.
Really? So you broke law?
No, I bought it here.
Oh, with all these Mandarin, Cantonese signs.
You still can buy it here, though.
Okay.
Will be
Cool. So talking about comedy, let's continue some of the cool stuff. I mean, you've been traveling now quite a lot, especially in the last half a year or in a year. So you performed in States, you've performed in a lot of countries in Asia, like Vietnam.
No, Vietnam.
You didn't do that.
Thailand,
China.
Malaysia, Indonesia, China, States, Russia, Turkey.
Yeah, and you perform mainly for expat community, right? What was that?
Broke me. Wow. That beatbox event a couple of days ago.
Yeah,
affecting. I think I have a concussion. So mostly, yeah, but like in States, no, it's not expat community. It's just locals.
Obviously, yeah. It's just
and the same in Malaysia. Malaysia is a very multicultural place. I performed in Kuala Lumpur. And it's Indian Malaysians, Chinese Malaysians, Malay Malaysians, and expats. So it's 4 different categories, and they have much more in common than things that are different.
Oh, sick. Malaysia is a good place then to go and perform and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
And even though Kuala Lumpur is a kind of small city, it's like 2 or 3 million people.
Right,
it's relatively small for a capital, and like people know about this city, but it's quite small. But still, English is one of national languages, so there is a lot of events in English, and there will be no such problem like even like in Bali, where 30% of the audience doesn't know what you just said, doesn't know the whole sentence.
Well, because they're mainly from Russia, that's why.
Yeah.
No,
during COVID, but not anymore.
Not anymore. No.
Now it's very low percentage.
Yeah, it's very low percentage.
At least
Russians.
in comedy.
Yeah.
But tomorrow will be big stand-up show for like 400 or 500 people in Russia.
Tomorrow. Yeah. So this podcast is going to be it aired in about 2 months. So
nice.
Tomorrow is very important.
So in 2 months, I'll be in China already. I'll be maybe on the contract even.
Ah, shit. Let's talk about the contract. So you got contract offer to do comedy in China. Where exactly?
Shanghai.
Shanghai.
Yeah.
Fuck. And then it's going to be like, what, once a week, twice a week? What's the deal?
I don't know the details yet. More than twice a week for sure. Because they have a few places. And I will start doing comedy in Chinese too.
In Chinese too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Renarspodcast.